Hey everyone, Alex back again with another video, finally. I know it's been a minute since I've last filmed a video, but that's because work and life in general just got in the way. But I'm back. Happy New Year to all of you who I haven't wished Happy New Year to yet. Happy 2025. And as tradition, my first video of the year is going to be the 2025 vinyl tag. Some good questions. This one was started by Edwin over at the Pretty Green Vimyl Guy this year because Rob Walker wasn't doing one. Um, so yeah, I've written down the questions. Ignore my hieroglyphic writing there. I am going to change one of the questions slightly. Edwin, hope you don't mind because, and I'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, anyway, I've written everything like shorthand, so if it so the question may be longer than what it is, but anyway, question one: your best purchase of 2024, new or old? So it could be a new release, could be an older release, just something that's been. For me, I've picked something that's kind of out of everything that I've bought this year. Has kind of been high on my wants list for a while, and I finally found it. Is Nina Simone's "I Put a Spell on You," which I found in a charity shop earlier this year. Super stoked. Obviously the condition ain't great on this, but at least I've got a copy. Plays okay, plays pretty decent. A few pops and crackles as you'd expect from an album of this age. But yeah, I'm not complaining about that. Next question should be best album of 1974. But because we had that question in last year's vinyl tag, in the 2024 vinyl tag, I'm going to change it. And I'm going to pick the best album of 1975. Now, if I was to pick my favourite, I don't think it would be this album. But for the album I think is the best, and this is unbiasedly, by the way. So, best album, in my opinion, from 1975 is Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here. You guys say more about that. Question 3, an album that defines a genre. You guys who know me know I love my hip hop. And what album do I think of? Like, what album? I kind of try and think of it as what album would I recommend to someone who didn't really know what hip hop was trying to get into hip hop for the first time. What album would I recommend to them? That's how I thought about this one. I was doing that with every genre. Actually, at the end of the day, I picked a hip hop album because of how much I love hip hop. And I picked the one album I think everyone should listen to if they're just starting out to get into hip hop. The Low End Theory by Tribe Called Quest. Phenomenal album. Doesn't put a foot wrong from start to finish. In fact, I love all of their albums, to be honest. But this one I think is their best. Especially if you want like hip hop where they use a lot of jazz samples as well. Definitely give this one a listen. But for me, I definitely think The Low End Theory is a hip hop defining album. Now, question 4, best band from your home country. Again, thought of this in an unbiased standpoint. But where I'm from, the UK, I've gone with probably the most obvious choice in this scenario. Like, what one band does everyone think of when they think of the UK? The Beatles. Yeah, I know. Call me cliche, I don't mind, but literally it said best band from your home country, so that's what I picked. Question 5, is an artist you miss dearly. I've tried to pick an artist who has either like been alive in my lifetime that I've really been into, or someone that like I, because there's a lot of artists I listen to that may have died before I was even alive, or artists where I've got into them and they've died shortly after, or I've got into them and shortly afterwards discovered that they are dead, that kind of thing. But one artist I do miss quite dearly, and this is probably one of the only times a celebrity death hit me quite hard, was when Chester Bennington unfortunately passed away. Linkin Park's been one of my favourite bands for a very long time. So having that and like definitely missing him as the lead vocalist of Linkin Park. I'm not saying Emily Armstrong's not done a good job, because I think she's definitely done a good job. It's just I don't think anyone would ever replace Chester, and I don't think anyone had, other than maybe Freddie Mercury, I don't think anyone had his sort of frontman energy for a band, but that's just me. Best live album in your collection? This is question 6. I don't have many anymore. Like, I literally have, now I have 2, I think. So the only one I could have picked was Alice Coltrane live at Carnegie Hall. Which is a very well recorded live show. Sounds great. It's pressed really well. It's recorded really well. Yeah, it's everything you want from a live album. Where are we? Track. Question 7. Tripping over my words. Your partner dumped you. What are you playing? I don't have Celebration by Kool and the Gang. I'm joking, of course. I kind of feel like for this one, I've done picked something a bit different to what I'd usually pick. And this is just as someone who, would probably pick something, something upbeat. You just want to chuck something on and have a good time. And this album is definitely a good time for me. Is Bruno Mars's 24K Magic. Just one of those feel-good albums, one that anytime I listen to the tracks off of this, I am so happy to be listening to those songs. It definitely puts me in a better mood if I'm down or anything like that. Yeah, really, really, really good album there. So yeah, Bruno Mars, 24K Magic. Number 8, best sounding drums on an album. Now, for me, I've kind of, again, gone with the cliche answer. And I've picked Led Zeppelin 4. And I'm specifically talking about When the Levee Breaks here, because of obviously everyone knows the story of how they recorded the drums for When the Levee Breaks. But I do think they are some incredible sounding drums. Question 9, an artist who is a member of 2 or more bands. This one really got me thinking. I don't think I had too much in my collection where they weren't part of 2 or more bands, so to speak, but I've gone with Steve Winwood for this, because obviously we all know he was in Traffic, and he was in Blind Faith, and I'm pretty sure he was in another band. I can't remember the name of it right now. But this is obviously one of his solo albums, Arc of a Diver. But yeah, decided to go with that for that answer. I don't know why, but there it is. Question 10, Beatles or Stones, which one do you prefer? Controversial, I know, but I have always been more of a Rolling Stones fan than a Beatles fan. I think that the Stones, I'm sure they've put out more albums and they've had more hits and stuff. They've been able to be around longer. But I've always preferred the Stones. I don't know what it is, but I don't know. For me, it's the Stones. I'm not taking anything away from the Beatles because they've definitely grown on me over the years as a band. But I've always just preferred the Stones growing up, and even now, still prefer the Stones. Question 11. You found a bag of weed. What are you putting on? Again, cliche, I know, but I've picked some reggae and I've picked Exodus, although I could really go with anything by Bob Marley and the Wailers. I can listen to this album anytime, but I imagine this would be such a good time stoned anyway. But yeah, that's my pick. I know it's cliche, but hey, there we are. An album from the 80s you still listen to. I think most of my collection is from the 1980s, at least. But I've picked something that an 80s album that I think most people maybe have either forgotten about or definitely one that I like to listen to regularly, whether I'm streaming the album or spinning it on my turntable in a physical format. That's Level 42, Running in the Family. One of my favourite bands from the 80s. I don't think they put a foot wrong. But yeah, just a phenomenal album. Maybe my favourite album by then. But yeah, just a really, really good band and good album. So that's my pick for that one. 13, an artist whose political stance soured you. I don't care about politics, so I can't really answer this question. I don't have anything. I would never let someone's political views change my opinions on them or whatever have you, but I don't really care about politics too much, so politics doesn't really sway my decision towards an artist either way, but I'm not going to answer that one anyway. 14, show a favourite record label, and I'll show my all-time favourite record label, which is the Philadelphia International label. This is the OJs with Backstabbers. I love this label. I personally don't think this label's ever put out anything that I don't like. But anytime I find something on the Philadelphia International label, even if I've never properly listened to it, I'll pick it up because I know I'm not going to be disappointed. So there's that one. A run of 3 great singles, which I think I put the album in the wrong place. I have indeed. I didn't have the singles to hand for this. I wish I did, but I don't. That's Kashif I'm going with for this one. The 3 singles off of here are I Just Gotta Have You, Stone Love, and Help Yourself to My Love. All 3 of which I absolutely love. I mean, I love this whole album anyway, but they are 3 really, really solid singles from Kashif. If you want some R&B to listen to, definitely check it out. 16, an RSD purchase you still listen to. I wouldn't pick up an RSD purchase, or I wouldn't purchase anything on RSD unless I have the intent to listen to it all the time. It's like Black Friday, record store day. There was nothing that interested me on the list, so I didn't bother. But I feel like there are a handful of RSD things in my collection. But I've I picked out this one for this one. This is Fela Kuti and Africa 70 with Open and Close, which came out on RSD 2021. Same year I got the Linkin Park Meteora on Record Store Day. But yeah, I really love this album. I actually think it's really, really good. I'm just a big fan of Fela Kuti anyway, one of the founders of Afrobeat, if you will. But yeah, he definitely revolutionized and made Afrobeat popular worldwide. But absolutely one of those who is so influential. They did like a mixture of funk and jazz, a little bit of rock in there at times. But yeah, just a really solid album from Fela Kuti. I definitely think it's up there in my top 5 from him. I'm not sure, but yeah, love that one. Still spin that one regularly. I know it's, yeah, whatever, but hey, there you go. 17, you get reincarnated as an artist. Still dead or alive. Who would you like to be reincarnated as? I have picked one that I feel has had a really good, or had a really good life in the music industry. Made his name as a producer and even did some solo work as a producer, working with people like Michael Jackson. He worked with George Benson, worked with Rufus and Shaka Khan, worked with Dinah Washington, Frank Sinatra. That, of course, is Quincy Jones. We sadly lost him late in 2024. That one did sadden me a little bit because he's my favourite producer of all time across all genres. And this is my favourite album of his outside of Michael Jackson albums and things like that. But actually, no, even above them, because this is in my top 5 favourite albums of all time. Absolutely adore this album, think it's a masterpiece, and I think if I could get reincarnated as an artist, it would definitely be Quincy Jones. The legacy that he left behind and the work he put into the industry, I think is really phenomenal stuff. So that is my pick for that one. 18, 3 lines in a song that you really love. For me, I think lyrically, the chorus to Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol is one I could think of for this off the top of my head. So as you know, that it's, how's the chorus? If I lay here, if I just lay here, would you lie with me and just forget the world? I think the song's really touching. Obviously, I can go over the entire song. One of my favourite songs of all time. Lyrically, and yeah, I just think it's a really touching song, really beautifully written song. So that's my pick for 18. It might not interest most of you, but hey, there we are. 19, an album you never tire of. Once again, I could have picked like an album that's in my top 10 or top 20 of all time, but instead I've decided to pick an album that's a little bit newer, that to me has aged pretty well still, and that's Dua Lipa's second album, Future Nostalgia, which to me is probably the most 80s sounding album of recent years, with songs like Don't Start Now, Physical, Levitating, Love Again, Break My Heart, which is a good one. I think it's Break My Heart actually where Chad Smith is on the drums for that track, I believe. I don't know. I can't see it on the liner notes, but I'm sure that there is a track on here, and I'm pretty sure it's that one. That Chad Smith is the drummer on. Yeah. I don't tire of this album. I still think it holds up well, considering it's 5 years old this year, and I think it still holds up. I think it's aged pretty well, so that's why I picked that one. Obviously there's a couple from 2020 I could have picked, but I definitely think out of all of them, this one's one that's still it had the potential to not age well, but I think it has. So yeah, I've picked that one. Finally, question 20. Share your favorite VC channel. Now, I've got a few whose videos I watch constantly. I mean, Tim, High News Vinyl, good friend of mine. We talk all the time. He's up there. He's just uploaded another video, actually. Jeff Kempin, another one who's just made a comeback to the VC recently. There's Mr. Hall of Fame, who I watch every time he uploads. Brad H2 Vinyl, who's not uploaded in a while. There are a couple of new VC channels. I can't think of the names off the top of my head at the moment, but I don't have one specific channel that's my favorite. Like, I'll watch different videos in the vinyl community, but from like different channels, if that makes sense. But I'm always up for discovering new channels in the vinyl community, so I don't really have a favorite, but there are just a few off the top of my head that I can think of off the top of my head. So with that said and done, guys, that is the vinyl tag for 2025. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here, and make sure that bell switched on, that way you never miss an upload, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye.